Hello and welcome back to part 2, which will be episode 9 in the series, where we'll be finishing off our boss fight here. So first thing we're going to add in, now we've done our firebolt, is we need a way to beat the boss. So we're going to add in a enchantment block, which we're going to place down over here in the corner. So we'll go and add in a part, and we'll move it down here onto the map. And we'll resize it a little. We're going to anchor it, and we might as well rename it enchantment block, so we know what it is. And we'll move it down over here into the corner, and we're going to make its reflectance to be 1, so give it a kind of chrome color, and then we'll add in a script for it. Inside the script, we'll be using our touched event, which we're all familiar with now. So simply a case of script.parent.touched, and then we're going to connect it with a function called enchant. And so above it, we'll create that function, local function enchant, and that'll take hit. And then the new line, if hit.parent find first child humanoid, and I can't type. You see that's a little typo there, you gotta watch out for. Then we know that the character is equal to hit.parent. And then what we want to do next is we want to add a little effect to the player where all of their body parts, we give them a chrome color. So what we're going to do is going to loop through each of their parts. So we can have for loop. We can say for key object, and you can give any name, because these are just two variables that we're creating as part of the loop. It's quite common to see for IV for the unimaginative folks out there, but I quite like calling them key and object, as I think it makes it quite clear what we're referring to. And then we're creating a table, so in pairs, and then we'll say character, which is the character model. We know that it's hit, and then we're going to call a function on it, get children. So that returns a table, and then we want to loop through whatever's contained in that table. And for now, we're just going to print out object, and so we can check it's all working. Key, in case you're wondering, is just the number of the loop. So if I print out that as well, key and object, and we run that, we'll go ahead and check that it's all working in order and touch our block. And we've got a big long list here in the output. If I zoom in a bit, you can see we've got a list of everything contained inside the character here, and it's the number corresponding to it as well, which is the loop as it went through. So 1 would be the first loop, and so on. Right, so we need to adjust the properties. Now, if we go into the character in the workspace and have a look, we see there's a load of things here that aren't parts. Now, we only want to change the property of the part, so we're going to need to have a little check. It's also worth noting that the head and the humanoid root part, they're actual parts, whereas these, for the newer character models these days, are mesh parts. So if we head back to our script, and we'll delete that print statement, and we'll have an if statement. We'll say if object, and we use a function is a, capital I, lowercase s, uppercase a, and then we say is a part, and then we check if it's a mesh part as well. So or object is a mesh part. And then we're going to change the reflectance, aren't we? So we'll say object dot reflectance equals 1. So let's go and see if that works. Jump down here over to the thing, and there we go. We've got our cool chrome effect. Now this isn't going to do anything at present. If we go over to the wizard up here and we get hit by the thing, we're still going to take damage. It's not going to do anything on its own. What we need is a way for the script from the wizard to know when we've been enchanted. So what we could do, an easy way of doing this, would be to add in a value inside the player. So if you remember the int values and bool values that we've used before, so we're going to start a player and start character scripts. So starter player scripts is scripts that will be added into the player when they're loaded in, and anything you place in starter character scripts will be placed inside the character's model. So what I'm going to add in is I'm going to add in a bool value, which is, and a bool is a boolean, which is true or false. We're going to make it false by default, and the name we're going to just call it enchanted. So it's going to be false by default, but if the player touches our enchantment block, then inside the script, before we start looping through everything, we're going to say character dot enchanted dot value equals true. So let's just test that now. It's not going to do anything too exciting on its own, but we can check everything's working as we expected. So we can look in workspace for our character. Scroll down, you can see now we have this enchanted value that has appeared, and it's false by default. But if we got hit by the firebolt as we jump down there. If we go over to the enchantment block and we touch it, then we can see it's updated to true. Super. So all we need to do now is change our firebolt script. We'll go and select the wizard. Get the wizard script, and then on this line here, line 9, where we damage the player, we damage what it hits, we need to change that a bit, don't we? We'll add an if statement. We'll say if character find first child, and this time instead of looking for the humanoid like up here, we want to look for that enchanted value we added. So we'll see if enchanted exists, and then we want to see if it's true. So we'll say and character dot enchanted dot value equals it's comparison true. Then so we don't want to damage the player this time. Instead we want to damage the wizard, and we've got the wizard variable up here. Well, that's actually for the wizard's humanoid, even better. So we can just say wizard dot health equal to, and we can actually comment the line down from here because we want to take a third of its health again. But instead of being character dot humanoid, it'll just be wizard dot health and wizard dot max health. Super. And then we also, after we've given the wizard some damage, we want to disable the enchanted effect because it's not that powerful a spell, so I think the spell is going to wear off, and then they're going to have to go and re-enchant themselves. So we'll say character dot enchanted dot value equals false, or equals false, sorry. So we'll go and then instead of after here, instead of being the end, we'll add an else. So else, if we can't find enchanted or the value is not true, then we want to damage the player as normal. So we'll add that in, go back and test. We'll enchant ourselves, there we go. And hopefully this time, when we get hit by the firebolt, it'll damage the wizard instead. Let's see. There we go, the wizard's taking damage, and this time we've taken damage. We've still got that reflectance effect here. That hasn't changed. A better way of doing that is we could add a script. Rather than doing it inside the enchantment block, we could add a script inside of the enchanted value. We could add a script in here. We'll name this script on enchant, or yeah, on enchantment will do, will be the name of the script. And we can copy and paste this little loop we have created in here. copy and paste that. And inside the onEnchantment script, we're going to have another function. We'll say script.parent. We're going to use the changed event this time. So whenever this value changes, this function will be connected. Connect, and we'll name the function onEnchantment as well. And so let's create that one. Local function onEnchantment. And then we'll copy, we'll paste that loop in. So let's see, character equals hit.parent. Well, the character is now equal to the script.parent. And I failed to type script in there. Script.parent, which will be enchanted. And this enchanted value, remember, is placed inside of the character. So it's script.parent.parent. We don't need this bit changing the value anymore. Well, actually, what we can do, we can say down here, instead of just setting the reflectance to 1, we can add another if statement. We can say if script.parent.value equals true. If it has been enchanted, then we want the part to be reflected. Else, if that's not the case, then we want that to be 0. So now we're doing all the reflectance changing from inside this script. We can go back to the script for this block over here, and we can get rid of all the loop here and simply change the value to true. That's all we need to do there. So let's see if that's working now, shall we? We'll go ahead and play. We'll go down, we'll enchant ourselves. We've got the enchantment effect. I was trying to dodge the zombie then, and I went straight into the spikes. You would think this was actually a hard game, wouldn't you? And we'll get the enchantment, wait for the zombie, jump over the zombie, back over here, and the wizard's going to take damage, and this time we're going to take damage, so let's get some more enchantment for ourselves. Right, so let's try that again, shall we? Enchantment, back over. Wizard takes damage again. And third time. Wait. Back. Boop, boop. And there we go, wizard's dead. Super. Now there is one other thing I wanted to add, which was a bit of an effect. When we get hit by the fireball, I'd like us to get flung across the map. So, like we used a body force for the firebolt here, we had a body force. We're gonna add a body force now to the player when they get hit. So what we can do is we can actually just copy this force bit of code, these 3 lines here, and we're going to paste that over into the spell landed script. So if the player gets hit, then we want to take damage, and then we're going to create another force object, but instead of parenting it to the firebolt, we're going to parent it to character dot humanoid root part, and we're going to need a bit more force this time. In this case, we only moved, we need a tiny little bit of force, -10. But seeing as the player is bigger and heavier, we're going to need a hell of a lot more force. So let's try setting some big values here. We'll set 2,000 and 1,000, say. And another thing we might need to do is we might need to we'll change the character. We'll say character dot humanoid dot sit equals true. So that'll cause the player to go into its sit position, which means it's much easier to fling the character about, and also it means the player will have to press the space bar to get up again, which is a bit like they have to get off the floor then, isn't it? And then so that this change isn't permanent, we want to wait. Let's say we'll just wait 2 seconds, that's probably plenty, isn't it? And then we'll say force destroy. Otherwise, the player's never going to be able to get up again, are they? So let's go and see how this is working. We're not going to enchant ourselves this time. I am not good. This is why I don't play games. I just make the games. Right. We'll go and get ourselves hit this time and see if we get flung. Oof. There we go. We're getting flung forwards. So let's change that to... Yeah, we want a minus value here. Minus 2,000. So we go backwards. And let's see what this is looking like. Much better. Okay, I like it. Very nice. Okay, so the boss fight is technically now complete. We have a way of killing the wizard, and the wizard definitely has a way of killing us back. But it's certainly a bit lacking at the moment. When we kill the wizard, well, the game doesn't even tell us we've won. And the game overall is feeling a little bit rough around the edges. So we're going to have one more episode, and we're going to try and polish things up a bit. We're going to add in a proper ending. I think we're going to add some sounds as well, and we'll see what we have time for. But that is the end of the boss fight. That is the end of part 9. Thank you very much for watching. As always, if you enjoyed it, please like, even subscribe. And if you're having any problems, join us in the Discord. The link will be down below, and I'll be happy to help any of you. Thanks for tuning in.